miss or make a misdiagnosis of that, of the corneal opacity. But what about the pen light? When we send the mobile team to the people house and we see the pen light, is it okay? Or should they use any magnification device such as loupe or something else to have a better view on the cornea with the pen light?
So thank you for your question. So for the people who perform the pen light exam, they are actually are ophthalmic assistants or they are optometrists. And from what I know, I don't think they have any additional device beside the pen light to to help with the diagnosis. But when we look at the results, we can also conclude that the pen light is much less sensitive than the slit lamp exam, because all of the patients who had a pen light exam, they ended up having an opacity on the slit lamp exam, but the pen light exam actually missed a couple of cases that didn't show up on the slit lamp exam.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other question? Dr. Van, you want to do something? Yes. Oh, no.
The purpose of this study that means that we just want to identify that this patient have a corneal opacity, yes or no, or you would like to identify that the progress of the opacity of the cornea or the nuclear keratitis. Is that right? Just only the question is yes or no, or you would like to investigate the progression of the opacity or not, the difference.
Yes, thank you for your question. So the goal of this study, we actually just want to know if the corneal photographs can tell how accurately the corneal photograph can tell whether the patient has an opacity or the scar on the cornea without actually really follow the progressions of the scar.
The question is just yes or no?
Just yes and no, yes.
It can identify that it's active or it's not active, not.
We didn't focus on whether we didn't really focus on determining whether the lesion is active or not. So I think also I guess the goal of this study is actually to see the whether or not the smartphone corneal photographs can be used in the community, because I think the intended purpose of this is that if smartphone corneal photography can actually detect whether or not the patient has corneal opacity, then the next steps is going to be refer those patients to an eye care center. So this is more like for screening than like the final diagnosis, and it is intended to use by non-ophthalmic personnel, just like any health worker should be able to do that, because to manipulate a smartphone, we don't need a lot of skills like an ophthalmologist who need a lot of skills to use the slit lamp.
Because I think it's so complicated. You see, because now you have to train for the health worker how to take the photo on the smartphone. You see here, you have to use the lens for magnify the image.
Yes.
And then you send you graded the opacity, and then you reanalyze it and send to ophthalmologist. Because I think now in Vietnam we have a primary eye care for the health worker. And instead of take the photo, the health worker can go around in the commune and see if the pen light and send the ophthalmologist if there are some problem. I think so. I think it's a little complicated. I think here the smartphone can record the situation, because it answers the question is a yes or no. I think it's a primary health care in Vietnam is very good. But if you have you use smartphone for follow up the progress of the lesson or something else, I think it's better. If not, this study just only answer the question, yes or no, I think primary healthcare in Vietnam work very well.
Yes, thank you for your input. And actually, like you said, there are actually other studies that actually study about the application of smartphone in following up with the patients who had corneal infections or who actually had an eye surgeries like cataract surgeries or like a trabeculectomy, and they can follow up with the smartphone, and those actually one of the application of the smartphone as well. I think in this specific study regarding the complications, so the device that the smartphone attachment is actually pretty cheap, and it was designed in that way that can actually be designed in-house and then printed out with a 3D. And but like you said, like sometimes we also need to train the people who take the photo as well. But I guess I'm not sure about this, but I guess like kind of like a disadvantage of having a healthcare worker just taking the image with a smartphone only is that sometimes without the illumination and magnifications, then the corneal images may be not clear enough, they may be blurry, not in focus, and then it may affect the sensitivity of the corneal photographs. So I guess the purpose of this to see whether or not the corneal cell scope is going to be a better tool that can help enhance the corneal images taken by the smartphone.
Okay. Yes, Professor Dong, do you have any comment?
So in my opinion, let's say in the daily life, it's not very useful for the daily life, but it's very useful for some survey. So as when we use rapid assessment for blindness, so we have to identify what is the cause of blindness. And in that case, if we based on the community health worker, they say it's corneal opacity or not, we don't know. And there's no evidence of that. But if you can take the picture, so we have the evidence. So it's better for the survey, like for the conclusion. And for daily life, it doesn't mean anything. Because even though we know that corneal opacity or not, we cannot do anything for them to impose visual acuity. So I think this is the aim of the purpose of the study. That's one thing. And the second is smartphone everybody have, but for the extra device, not everybody have. Such as the lens 25 diopter and the can you spell that?
The light sources,
The light,
LED.
yes, that's one. So not everybody have it. So in fact, in some situations you can have it, but not for the daily lives.
Thank you.
So, in your study just communities for detection corneal opacity or how the patient affects the vision of the patient. But I think in the future, so maybe you should open your study more about how to detect the cataract in the patient. I think it's very helpful for the doctor because when the patient we can detect for cataract, so maybe we send this patient go to the eye center, we can do the surgery for them. It's better for prevention of blindness in other countries. Also in Vietnam, many cases, many patients in the minority people in mountainous or in provinces, they have a cataract. And when you have a detected by smartphone for diagnosis for cataracts, it's very useful for the patient or going to hospital to do surgery because the cataract surgery in our country in Vietnam now the percentage very increased. The cataract surgery rate in Vietnam quite high than other country. If we compare, even compare with China, we are in double percentage for cataract surgery with compared other country. Okay. So, any other question or comment from other doctor? So how do you feel when you come here?
Like today to present or like
Yes, and about the community, about the doctor here.
Oh, everyone is very friendly. I feel very welcome. I feel like home. So thank you so much for everyone here at the hospital, especially Dr. Chi and everyone in the cornea department and in the microbiology department and lab department as well. Thank you so much.
Okay, you working in cornea department?
Currently, I'm working in the microbiology department because my project involves collecting corneal specimen and do some microbiology testing.
I see.
Yes.
I see. Okay. Yes. So any other question or comment from Dr. Bing? Thank you very much for your presentation today, and bravo for Dr. Bing again. So next section, Dr. Wen Kunchi, she will be talking about the comparison of cytoplasmic and total reduction in retinoscopy in China.